want to live in the moment, live in the breath. Namaskar, everybody. A warm welcome to the speaker of the day, Miss Mridula Nair, on the topic anxiety and panic attacks. Madam Nair has a dynamic personality. She was elected to the board of the Travel Agents Association of India in organizing the Holistic Summit, Health Summit in 2003 for Tokyo International Holistic Center, Bangalore, and World Congress at Art of Living International Center, Bangalore. She is a keen of EFT and the head of EFT MRA India. So, Madam Nair, what do you say about it? What is anxiety all about?
Thank you, Rashmi, for that
Over to
introduction.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rashmi, for that introduction. So, what exactly is anxiety? And we are all going through a lot of it today. Anxiety or stress is a psychological state. We are in a fight or flight or freeze situation. Our bodies are ready to take on a threat or flee, or we just freeze, we become numb. Stress or anxiety is a process, a relationship between you and the environment around you. When we have perceptions of uncertainty, we feel a lack of control and then engage in negative conversations in our head. It leads to acute stress. We constantly play mental tennis, or something that was a small issue snowballs into a big event in our mind. The hormone released during a stress response is cortisol. Some of the emotional symptoms of stress are a feeling of frustration, irritation, restlessness, inability to sleep, constant worry, lack of focus. The physical sensations are headache, back pain, sleep problems, stomach upset, or palpitations. You can become aware of your patterns, but how do you get the tools to stop the patterns? Stop unhelpful thoughts and rewire your brain. Your unconscious mind can be trained to respond differently. Initially, it takes discipline, but then it becomes the normal way you respond. We begin to see the pattern as it is happening and we learn to stay calm or we tap on it. That's what I'll tell you in the end. It takes consistent daily practice. A feeling of safety is a feeling in the body and not a thought in the mind. The mind always tries to escape. Unresolved emotions have to go somewhere because we try not to feel it. When I was young, and if I wanted to see somebody who lifted weights, we would go to the exhibition or the circus. But today, normal people do weightlifting in the gym because they want to be healthy. Physical strength training and taking care of our physical body is healthy living today. Now it is time to give our emotional and psychological well being equal importance as well. Are you feeling boxed in and crowded with no time for yourself? Does this feel like it is never going to end? You have too much to do and simply don't know where to start. You have no space. You could be going through emotional fatigue or exhaustion, and it makes you feel anxious all the time. If your illness is physical, you may well believe that there are no psychological or emotional triggers. In fact, it is the physical discomfort that makes most people seek help. People with anxiety have excessive fear and worry and a constant feeling of uncertainty. Managing anxiety will help you stay calm and make sure it doesn't rule the way you respond. This can become an anxiety disorder when it grips you and you become dysfunctional. Some people say the issue is in my body. I'm mentally very strong. Let's do a little process here. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think of your favorite food. See it, smell it. I am thinking of just simple cut raw mango in season with chili powder and salt. My mouth is watering. Are you salivating? When we think of something, our body will respond to it. If we can think it, we can change the response to it also. Stress and trauma make demands on our system and takes away our ability to heal naturally. Acute stress is good in small doses because we learn from it. Athletes who are training for an event push themselves a little harder every day. However, chronic stress affects our physical and psychological system. Unresolved childhood trauma can affect you even 50 years later, causing BP, diabetes, insomnia, autoimmune diseases, and even cancer. Our body was not designed to live in that stressed, anxious state. Now, some big T traumas are physical abuse, divorce, loss of a parent, or being in an accident, and there are more. But small T traumas are not being validated as a child, getting bullied in school, spoken down to. These small traumas all stack up and become a big issue in our mind. Both traumas affect our nervous system. We cause stress, overload, and trauma by constantly being in that state, literally stuck there. So, the way we respond is our body trying to protect us. When we have experienced trauma, it must go somewhere. It is best to process it and release it. If we do not do this, it is held in our physical and emotional body and then goes into our nervous system. When we resist feeling our emotional pain emotionally, it gets stored in our physical body and causes physical symptoms. Those negative memories live in our cells. It makes us on edge all the time, struggling to switch off. The world doesn't feel safe anymore. We don't feel safe anymore. We are either emotionally bubbling or we are numb. See your body as a home with lots of children. Each of your organs is a child. Children need attention. If they do not get it, they will throw a tantrum. Here, it will be some kind of inflammation or bloating or pain, and then you will be forced to pay attention. So, give your body attention by exercise, good rest, and good sleep, a healthy diet. But we can talk more of this later. So, Rashmi, does that answer your question?
Those anxiety is.
Uh, I lost you. What did you ask? Water?
I'm asking about the signs of anxiety.
Yes, that's a very good question. Now, let us see what are some of the symptoms. Brain fog. Brain fog makes it difficult to do simple everyday tasks, like making a grocery list. It's literally like a fog that has descended upon us, and everything is cloudy. People feel spaced out and unable to function. They cannot remember and get irritated. They are unable to concentrate, and there is a decline in productivity. Decision making is impaired. Communication becomes difficult to the point of frustration. Then being hyper vigilant. You're tired but wired all the time. Especially now with the work from home culture, there is no switching off. So you're on high alert all the time. This keeps you in a stressed, anxious state. This means your body is in fight or flight or freeze mode and releases cortisol and adrenaline into the bloodstream, believing that it is an immediate physical danger and goes into survival mode. Normal things that the body needs to do are deprioritized. Blood flow is diverted away from the gastrointestinal system and the skin. That's why when we are anxious, we have stomach problems. Procrastination. Sometimes we tend to put off things. We get into the habit of delaying or starting something, although we know it will have negative consequences. It is perceived as a negative trait because it slows our progress. It can also be associated with depression, low self esteem, and guilt. Sometimes we rather not do a task as it's better than looking incompetent, as we have not done it perfectly. Sometimes we have important things to do and we get so overwhelmed and we go into a sprint. Then we do really insignificant things just to keep busy and allow the important things to wait. And we refuse to look at it. I know I have done this many times. Then panic attacks. We'll talk about that later. Then decline in cognitive thinking. The brain functions slowing down with age can be frustrating. Cognitive decline can be addressed with certain measures. Our ability to focus, to concentrate, and to remember has a lot to do with our emotional well being. How much emotional stress are we experiencing? Emotional stress has an impact on our long term cognitive functioning. Keeping our brain fit with positive emotions will help in reducing unhealthy stress. Negative emotions contribute a lot to the many mental problems in society today. Some simple ways to address this is through self love. Appreciate yourself and invoke feelings of care and compassion. Unable to focus. Some of the emotions that stop us from being able to focus are anxiety, illness, lack of sleep, medication, and chronic stress. When we are rushing from one deadline to the next, we get caught up in this vicious cycle. We are trying to get too much done, and our brain is overloaded by many stimuli and cannot process information in an organized fashion. We are all over the place. However, some people like being stressed. They feel challenged. They feel it propels them to strive better. Now, this is positive stress. The negative stress, the one that we are talking about here, is when the person feels they cannot cope with the situation. The heart is racing, breathing quickens, muscles tense, the brain thinks we are in danger and releases stress hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline. This makes the mind alert and we are very focused. However, when this happens over a long period of time, it results in problems of memory and concentration. Stress hormones block the ability to remember or to think. The person feels burnt out. Some techniques that help are meditation, pranayama, good nutrition, drinking more water, and sleeping better, taking breaks. Next one is being emotionally unavailable, not being seen or heard or accepted as a child can lead to ignoring ourselves as an adult. Not being responded to as we wanted as a child sets up our relationship we have with ourselves as an adult. We learned to negatively acknowledge ourselves as a child, and we do the same in a bigger way as an adult. We ignore ourselves completely until we learn to heal from this trauma. Inability to sleep. A person may have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep with no cause, and this is referred to as insomnia. Sleep is very important to healing from within. This is when the body recharges. Sleep disturbances can affect a person's cognitive functioning emotional state, and quality of life. Now, I'm going to share a little story with you. If you put a frog in hot water, it will jump out. But if you put a frog into a pan of cold water and keep it on the stove, it will keep readjusting to the temperature and finally it will get cooked. We do the same with anxiety and stress. We keep adjusting ourselves with the stressful environment and ultimately we get cooked in a different way by falling sick, by being burnt out. Rashmi, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we have a question here, which I
Yes.
find it worthy to ask you. That
Ah,
people are asking, the audience, they want to know that what are the different ways and means by which we can cope up with anxiety.
great. Yes. There are many methods to cope with anxiety. The first step is to accept and acknowledge that we have anxiety. Only when we accept it, we will do something about it.
Right,
Yoga, pranayama, meditation, even doing painting, doing
right,
seva, helping others is very powerful. I am a practitioner of EFT or emotional freedom technique. It's the fastest growing self help tool and it's extremely helpful to deal with anxiety. Yeah?
right,
Yeah.
ma'am. Even we want to know more about EFT, what it is all about.
Yes, good one because I like talking about it. EFT is a combination of ancient acupressure without the needles and modern day psychology. It is also called tapping because we tap on the end points of the meridians or the nadis, tuning into the issue or the emotion that we want to work with. As I
Okay,
always say, it looks really funny, but I will show it to you in a bit. When we get traumatized, in that moment, we create certain beliefs, and it doesn't take too much to get traumatized. Just a parent or a teacher saying something to a child is enough for the child to feel helpless. At that moment, a part of us splits off and holds all this information about the trauma. When we tap, a lot of what is in our subconscious mind comes up into our conscious awareness. Many aspects of what happened that day come back. We did or behaved in a certain way back then and we got through it. We survived. So we keep doing the same things. It's not about the size of the trauma, but the beliefs that we created. When one starts to use EFT with counseling or any other therapy, the client is able to change their perspective much faster. Tapping clears the energy blocks and causes cognitive shift. Now, how does tapping change your brain? Tapping helps you access your body's energy and send signals to the part of the brain that controls stress. It is said that stimulating the meridian points through EFT tapping can reduce the stress or negative emotion that you feel from your issue, ultimately restoring balance to your disrupted energy. It helps with pain relief, stress, anxiety, emotional issues, and even weight loss. When we tap, we send a calming signal to the amygdala, which is an almond shaped component in the midbrain, which triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response in us. This response is a survival mechanism that has stayed with us from our ancestors. They had to flee from a wild animal. Now, the brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. Today's stressors are very different. It may be an email that you got or an assignment that you have to submit and your Wi Fi is not working, or it may be the traffic. The stressors may not end. Or your body doesn't know that your reason for being stressed is the traffic jam. So it responds with releasing cortisol. By tapping, we simply turn off that response. Now, here's the good thing it works and skeptics and believers alike. I will just show you the tapping points now, and then we'll do the tapping later. So this, the side of the hand, it is also called the karate chop, though some people say karate chop sounds very violent. So now they call it side of the hand. Just very gently 5 to 7 times. Then the eyebrow point. It's where this eyebrow begins, just there, very gently. Side of the eye. It's where this eye socket is, just there. Follow the eye socket down under the eye. Under the nose. It's between the nose and the lip, just there. Between the lip and the chin, in this depression, just there. That's the chin point. The collarbone. Below that bone, just there. Under the arm, 4 inches below the armpit. And then the wrist point, just there. There's also the top of the head, just behind, where the babies have it soft here, just behind that. So those are the points. I told you it looks funny. It does. So we'll do the tapping later. Yeah? Any more questions, Rashmi?
Ma'am, a question was there from one of the audience posted
Yes.
that they want to know about what is panic attack, and the other part of the question was, does really anybody get panic attack person doesn't respond?
Okay. How to do what? I didn't get
You
the
love
second.
a person, you love a person, and the
Yes.
person isn't responding. So, do we get panic attack during that situation at that point of time?
So I'll explain what a panic attack is. And I'll
Exactly.
also, yeah, okay. Now, a panic attack could be very debilitating. A panic attack is a sudden episode of intense fear that grips you when there is no real danger. It is a perceived threat. But I already said the brain does not know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat.
Hmm.
It comes without warning and it peaks within minutes. It leaves you completely drained and tired when it's over. It can come at any time. You could be driving, you could be in a business meeting, you could be out shopping with your friends, or you could be sleeping. Some of the signs are hot flushes or chills, shortness of breath or tightness in the throat, sweating, trembling or shaking, chest pain, headache, feeling dizzy or faint, nausea, dry mouth, feeling spaced out or completely detached, dissociated, a tingling sensation, pins and needles in the hands and legs, a sense of impending doom, a racing heart. Most panic attacks last from 5 to 20 minutes. It mimics a heart attack. So it is best to get evaluated. Panic attacks, although are debilitating, are not dangerous. But it's quite difficult sometimes to manage on your own, so it's better to seek help. Some of the physical symptoms are a headache, migraine, and it's best to see a doctor and get an evaluation. But if it's due to stress, drink lots of water, see what foods to avoid, take breaks. This is your body forcing you to rest. Then heartburn. Now, this could be GERD, acid reflux. Certain foods can trigger heartburn. You can prevent it by eating early and mindfully, avoiding certain foods, drinking lots of water, cutting alcohol, and stop smoking. Back pain and neck pain. Then stress and anxiety makes you all wound up. This will continue until you learn to relax. The doctor also will give you a muscle relaxant. Then there's bloating. Bloating need not be due to anxiety, but anxiety causes bloating. When you have bloating, the anxiety will have to be addressed. Anxiety affects digestion. Then inflammation. Inflammation and bloating go together. You cannot ignore this as it will make you address it. It's like a child throwing a tantrum. You will have to address it. Now, what was the second part of your question, Rashmi? What is it? What does a person do to calm down?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, when you have a panic attack, what you can do, one very powerful technique, and I think we in India, we all are so lucky, we've learned it from childhood, Nadi, Shodhan, Pranayam. So, breathe in from your left nostril and breathe out from your right nostril. Then breathe in from your right nostril and breathe out from your left nostril. That is one. Then the other is, if you're sitting on a chair, keep both your feet on the ground. Keep your right hand on your heart and the left on top. And breathe into the count of six.
Right.
And
This
breathe
way.
out the count of six. Now you can do about 10 rounds of this. This is another way that will help a panic attack. Then
Calm down.
distracting yourself. Now, how to distract yourself? The moment your panic attack starts, time yourself and see how long the attack is lasting. That is one way. The other is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. It involves all your senses. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, slowly open your eyes, and look all around you. Name 5 things you can see, name 4 things you can touch, name 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. And this is very effective. Now, I'm going to do some tapping on this. So, some of the other signs are trouble focusing on anything, always looking for distractions, difficulty taking decisions, always restless and distracted, and procrastination. But let's do a little tapping. I've already shown you the points. I'm going to show it to you again and we'll do a round of tapping. Now, this is the side of the hand, eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, chin, collarbone, under the arm, and the wrist. Now, I want you to gently tap on the top of your head and think of something that is making you anxious. Give it a number from 0 to 10. See where in the body that you are feeling it. And once you have the number, let's tap on it on the side of the hand. Even though I'm feeling so anxious, I choose to accept the way I feel. Side of the hand. Even though being calm seems impossible right now, I choose to find a way to relax. Side of the hand again. Even though I'm feeling totally stressed, I choose to somehow stay calm. Eyebrow. All this stress and anxiety. Side of the eye. I'm really feeling stressed. Under the eye. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Under the nose. I feel it in my head. Chin. I feel it in my chest. Collarbone. I feel it in my stomach. Under the arm. All this stress. The wrist. I'm feeling so tense. Eyebrow. I find it hard to relax. Side of the eye. I find it hard to stay calm. Under the eye. What if I could let some of it go? Under the nose. A part of me is ready to let it go. Chin. A part of me wants to hold on. Collarbone. Letting some of it go. Under the arm. Releasing this anxiety top of the head. I am calm and safe. Now take a deep breath in. See what number it is at. See if it has changed and see how you are feeling. If the number hasn't changed, it means you need to work on another aspect before it clears completely. How does that feel, Rashmi?
It's really wonderful, ma'am. It's really wonderful. And I must say that a beautiful life lies in a beautiful mind. Indeed, we can say this. And at the end, I would like to, end up this session with these lines: stress, anxiety, and depression. These all are caused when we are living to please others. So focus on who you are, what you are, and where you want to reach. With this, I would like to thank Madam Mridula Nair for enlightening us with such a great knowledge, and special thanks to Credent TV for giving us both this opportunity to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, all of you. Thank you, Rashmi, and thank you to Credent TV also. Thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
bye.